Sports Takes of 2017. The takes, they were relentless this year. And bad. They continue, too. There is no stopping them. Jerry Jones had a spectacularly awful one just the other day, praising a man who'd decided to sell his football team after Sports Illustrated revealed he'd used the organization as a way to touch and leer at women. It was that kind of year. Here are the worst takes we could find. Sorry. No man bore the brunt of more bad takes this year than Colin Kaepernick, and picking the very worst one is exceedingly difficult. But here's the most ludicrous part of what Esiason said on a radio show back in October. Everyone just assumes that somebody should just sign him because he went to the Super Bowl a number of years ago and they should write him a $10 million check because he's some sort of activist. Nah, mostly the people who think Kaepernick should be playing in the league think that because Kaepernick is good enough to be playing in the league, and his absence is a sign that his political activism, which has taken on the form of donating $1 million and meeting with community leaders across the country, by the way, is causing him to be blackballed. Some people are so good at issuing the bad takes that they get paid millions of dollars to do it. Like Skip. An hour later, 2 hours after that, you all remember what happened in that game, right? Skip is our bad take North Star, shining always bright and wrong. You don't even get a minute into this before Stephen A. Smith, who is running away with awful announcing's tally of bad takes for the year, says, "Those damn numbers games, I don't play that, because I watched." This is always the setup for a horrible take. In this case, the take tries to materialize but forms mostly as indignant shouting meant to shield Stephen A. from the facts that Max Kellerman has dared to attempt to utilize. It seems to work. We dubbed this one of Whitlock's worst takes, so you know it's for real. Pretending that because a black person has become rich they should no longer be bothered by racial slurs takes a special kind of thirst for the spotlight, and an unfathomable inability to not only empathize with other human beings but even realize that empathy is a thing. Maybe LeBron James was upset precisely because if this can happen to a rich successful black man, just imagine how difficult racism makes life for an average black man. Maybe LeBron James realizes he has a platform and is an icon, and that many people look up to him and follow his example, and that saying, and getting back into his car would be letting them down. LeVar burst onto the hot take scene this year, feeding his most outrageous take to USA Today's Josh Peter. "Back in my heyday, I would kill Michael Jordan one-on-one," said Ball, the 49-year-old basketball dad who is 6'6" and 270 pounds and has a mouth to match his size. The elder Ball has spent his time touting his son as the next big thing in outrageous fashion, see, Curry comments, and trading verbal jabs with TNT analyst and ex-NBA star Charles Barkley. The mouth was motoring during a recent interview with USA Today Sports while LeVar Ball stood in the kitchen of his home here, about 35 miles east of Los Angeles, and heaven only knows how far from reality. "I would just back Jordan in and lift him off the ground and call a foul every time he fouls me when I do a jump hook to the right or the left," Ball said. "He cannot stop me one-on-one. He better make every shot cause he can't go around me. He's not fast enough. And he can only make so many shots outside before I make every bucket under the rim." As Josh points out, in 1987-88 Ball averaged 2.2 points per game for Washington State, then transferred. Jordan averaged 35 that year for the Chicago Bulls, then continued one of the greatest careers in NBA history. I wouldn't bet on LeVar if he was spotted 495 points and the game went to 500. No chance. Jordan eventually responded, "It's not often the bad takes emanate from someone with actual power, but here's the head of the executive branch of our government chastising citizens for publicly protesting, a right protected by the Constitution. And he insults their mothers, for some reason, all this posturing, done in Alabama, where a few months later the unthinkable would happen, the people elected a Democrat to Senate, came only after Trump decried efforts to make the game of football safer." Go ahead and read this Washington Post story about Larry Johnson and try to spend the rest of the day thinking, "Man, I wish they'd put the violence back in football." If you succeed, please know that you are full of the most awful takes, so do everything you can to never share them. More, how the Dallas Cowboys can make the playoffs headed into Week 16. Marlins man asks Derek Jeter if he knows who he is in exchange at Town Hall. Watch Phil Hellmuth unload on Tom Dwan after losing brutal all-in with pocket aces. Dwayne Wade amazingly tells story of the first time he played versus Kobe Bryant. Dak Prescott hilariously reacts to seeing contest winner is a Packers fan.